I'm excited about this upcoming miniseries on the Kim Sorrelle Show. We're talking about 3 misconceptions that people have about men. So we're going to unmask the man, the real man, and share 3 misconceptions on what holds men back and what women need to know, the women in their life need to know about who a man actually is. We're going to get into it on the Kim Sorrelle Show. Coming up soon. Don't forget to watch.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to this very special edition of the Kim Sorrelle Show. We are doing a 3-part series on misconceptions about men. And I'm not a man, so I'm not the expert in the room. That's why I have my good friend, Mista Yu, here, because he is the expert. Not only is he a man, he works with men, and he's done tons of research and tons of soul searching. And he has come up with just wisdom that he just pours out. And I just love him so much. And I love what he does for men, how he helps men, how he creates a space for men to be a man fully and completely and get rid of some of the misconceptions, some of the stereotypes that we put on men that shouldn't be a part of it, anything. So first episode that you can go back to, we talked about emotion, and that is a misconception that men are not emotional. It's not true. And if you don't allow your emotions to happen, if you don't express emotions, you can become a zombie. Like, it can hurt every relationship in your life. It can hurt your own relationship with yourself. And so it's so important to recognize that men are actually not robots, that they do have emotions, and it's perfectly fine and healthy and wonderful for them to express it. Then we talked about how a man is not all about his paycheck, that it's not about provision, it's about presence, and that a paycheck should never be tied to a man's value or worth in any way whatsoever, that that's not who the man is. The man is the man, and first and foremost, a man created in God's image, and that's the value. That is where his entire value lies, not in his paycheck. So that is the second misconception, is that somehow your value is attached to your paycheck. And now we're going to do misconception number 3. This is our third and final in the series of misconceptions about men. And Mista Yu, I can't wait. I'm excited to talk about it. So you got the mic.
Thank you for having me here. This has been so much fun. This miniseries has been a blessing in so many ways. I'm excited about the feedback. I'm excited about the people who are taking some different steps on this journey, both husbands and their wives. So I'm really excited about this. This last one, this is a tough one. Just want to just preface that. This is a tough one because this is where, and I think we hinted at it in the first 2 parts of the series, first 2 installments of the series. I think we hinted at it because deep down, this is the thread that kind of runs common through all of the relationships that men have in life. All that they do, all the areas where they feel valid and where they feel important. And this is the independence misconception. The idea that men don't need help. This is the one that I deal with the most, especially on our Men's Roundtable Series podcast. Of course, you can find it on YouTube or wherever you get your podcast from. But that's the one I hear the most common. Guys are telling their stories from all. This is not just in my local community here. This is across the nation, across the globe now. We're actually global now as a podcast. And we got people who come in as panelists, and they all seem to have this same common story. That's why I even started the show, because this thread is just constantly, all the time. I don't care where they are. I don't care if they're CEOs of companies. I don't care if they're C-level employees, C-suite employees. I don't care if they're entrepreneurs, small business owners. I don't care if they're unemployed. I don't care if they're coaches like me and you. Whatever they're doing, this thread continues to be present throughout there, that men don't need help. That's a perception that, or misconception that men have, and even women have about men, that they don't need help. And it's the biggest lie out of all the ones that we talked about, probably the biggest one, that men don't need help. So we're going to independence misconception today, Kim. So I'm excited about getting into this. This is going to cut a little bit. So get your
Yeah.
ready. This is gonna cut.
You're so right. This is a big one.
It's big.
This is a big one
It's big.
because it comes from a couple different angles, right? It
Yeah.
comes from what we've been taught, what people have been taught, the way society has acted, the way our culture is developed,
Oh yeah.
and then there's like the joke, right? You're out in the car and a woman will ask for directions, but a man won't ask for directions, right? So just would rather stay lost than admit that he doesn't know where he's at. And it's silly. Yeah. But it's so true. But it comes from both sides, men and women, because this is something we've been taught. So talk about it some more.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that joke it's really messed up when you think about it. I'm like, so you would lose 2-3 hours of time to instead of asking for help. That doesn't make any sense. So that is very, very weird. I don't think I'm going to share that story today. I think I'll leave that one be. But honestly, every man that desires to be strong or strive or aspires to be strong, you need to have stronger brothers. I mean, with all the areas where art imitates life, and we see all these things in cinema, television, what have you, it's like the theme is always there, but we accept all the other ones, but we just ignore this one. I don't understand that. We see all these areas where even in football, something that men want to talk about, especially this time of year, is common. I mean, the college football playoffs are going on, you know what I'm saying? And then the NFL playoffs are getting to starting to kind of square up a little bit, not quite yet, but starting to get there. And you see that brotherhood and that camaraderie. I mean, honestly, especially in college football, you get this because you've seen it. You've seen it where our Michigan Wolverines go blue, baby. Where these guys at the end, after they did the impossible, had a perfect season. If you listen to the press conferences afterwards and the award ceremonies, and you hear how they came out there and they fought for their brother, when you hear themes like this, I know men are hearing it, but I'm like, are you really hearing it though? Are you hearing what they're saying? Or are you just excited that your team won the national championship? Are you hearing the thing? Even recently, the championship that's been played so far and won so far, the theme is constant. I came out here playing for our brothers. Nobody said we can do it. The whole world was against us. Nobody said we'd make it this far. But we out there, we're on that field. We play for our brothers. We won for our brothers. We bled for sweat and bled for our brothers. And you hear that theme. I heard it constantly over every championship I've seen so far in the college football season. It's about playing for your brothers. And that theme is something that we should all get because men love football, right? But that theme doesn't seem to apply in our regular lives. And I don't really understand that. Every strong man needs stronger brothers. Do you agree with that? Did that make sense to you?
Oh my gosh, it's so true. Yeah. I mean, there's no way a football team can win with one player.
Very good.
It cannot happen, right?
I love that.
And so you need each other. You need each other. And the reality is in life, we need each other. We need each other. Not just that we want to be around other people, which is so natural to want to be around other people, but we need to be around other people. But there seems to be this little bit of a disconnect. As a woman, I can say this, talking about men, because I'm not a man, so I probably have no clue what I'm about to say, except that I feel like I see it more with men than with women, where men feel like they kind of can be an island. In the United States, it's like the average man has 0.4, I think is the number, 0.4 friends. The average man in the United States.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Which means then they're doing it alone. Who is your brother? Who is your friend who you're able to talk to? And, iron sharpens iron, right? If you don't have somebody else in your life making you a better person, how can you do that on your own? Like there's so many things that we think you can do on your own, or so many men that I've known that have had a hard time admitting that they didn't know something. On my brothers, I can tell you, they both think they know everything in the world. I've never heard either one of them. I've got two brothers. I've never heard either one of them say, I don't know that. Or, oh, is there another way to look at that? Like me, I haven't heard it from either one of my brothers. Like they know everything. They know everything.
Goodness.
Yeah. And I know
I need to
other
watch that
men,
show. Are they watching it right
right? But you know what I'm saying? You see that where men don't want to admit that maybe there's something they don't know, and maybe somebody, if they're joining forces with somebody, if they've got a friend, if they've got somebody that they can go to, if they've got the iron in their life, that it makes them a better person.
I love that. I hope we have enough time to get into this because there's just so many layers to this one. This one is probably our biggest misconception, just because of all of the attachments involved. But men, men are taught early, don't depend on anybody, don't show any weakness. People take advantage of you. Do it yourself. Don't worry about it. And that mindset, it turns into a thing. I mean, not for the first time in a long time, this past year for Father's Day, I heard more complaints from fathers than I think I have in 30 plus years. They complaining about how they're perceived in the media, which is not great when Father's Day come around. Mother's Day is a full court press, but when Father's Day come around, it's like, okay, a tie and a drill, and give him a chair so he can sit down. He's fine. It's like, wow. Now I'm hearing more complaints like this is not who I am. I'm more than this. You know what I'm saying? But we learn these horrible ideas about handling yourself. Don't depend on anybody, and you wonder why people want to give you DIY gifts all the time, because that's what we've kind of ingrained in the culture. We've taught that indirectly or directly to our husbands and sons and what have you. I think this is one thing that, and like I said, there's many layers to this conversation, so I hope we have time to get into it. But I want to just tell everybody that's watching, be really careful about the words that you say out of your mouth. Be really careful about the words that you speak, not only to your spouse, but also in front of your children, even within earshot of your children. We got the power, and we talked about it a little bit last time we talked, but we have the power to either uplift a generation or totally wreck a generation. We can do that with the words that we say out of our mouth. We got that kind of power. The power of life and death is in our mouths. What we say makes a difference, has an impact. It's one thing to take a physical rock and throw it into a crowd and hit somebody, go, oh, I'm sorry, I hit you in the head. They still feeling the pain, even though you're sorry, they're still in pain. The wound on their head has to heal from the rock that you threw. You over it. There's no residue on you from the rock that you threw, but they're hurting and they got to heal from it. And that's how words are. You can say something to people, especially in the area of family and community and what have you. And we can say things to our husbands or to our wives, and you don't understand that it has an impact, and it impacts deeper and further than you intended, further than that rock was thrown.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, that's so, so true. And so, so, so important. Yeah, wounds run deep with words, much deeper than a rock, much deeper than a stick, than a cut, than a bruise, than a whatever. Because those words stick with you. And it's not like you can just erase them from your memory. And so it's so important, the words that we choose to use and the words that we use. And you can't take them back.
Mm.
It's not like you let them out of the bottle and you can stuff them back in there. Once they're out, they're out. So yeah, great words of wisdom to watch your words. Absolutely. So good.
Yeah, this is the big fight for men, and I say that to the women that are watching and listening. This is the big fight for us. And I say us because we all have to deal with this. It's not some men or a percentage. I don't have any stats to throw out today. I think as a whole, men, we all deal with this particular thing. And one of the things that I see most often that comes through mentorship circles or through coaching clients or potential clients or even through the Men's Roundtable Series podcast, or even just in random conversations in the lobby at church, I hear it all the time. Isolation is one of the biggest things that we have to battle against. And I think that really runs uh, right in line with this misconception that we're talking about with independence. People, men specifically, we isolate because we think it's safer. But it's the most dangerous place that we can be. It's the most dangerous place for our souls. But that's where we think we can be safe. Nobody can hurt us in isolation. Most men stop going to church because, I mean, there's stats for that. There's numbers for that. You can dig those up. You can find Google that. You see that all the time, and the numbers are actually growing. Where they stay away from church because they've been hurt there. So rather than embrace the hurt, deal with it, and get on a course of on a journey of healing, you stay away, making the wound fester even longer and delaying healing even more. And on top of that, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're isolating from community and you're not getting what you need. Because I truly believe this as a general statement that everything that you think you need in life is found in community.
Mm.
It's in community. It's not found in your mom's basement next to a bowl of hot Cheeto. That's not where you find what you're looking for. It's in community. You got to get out of the isolated space that you're in where you're dealing with all these dark thoughts, all of these suggestions that you're hearing in your head about what you can do with your life or what you can do against something that's going on in your life. Yeah. Isolation is a horrible place to be at. And men, for a lot of men, it's their default. It's really a scary proposition.
Wow. Yeah. I never really thought about it that way before, but it seems like, yeah, it is the default. Like you get hurt enough. It's the best defense is then just not to be around anybody because you run a risk of being hurt some more. And going back to what you said earlier about words and how important they are and how deep they cut and the wounds that can just fester and be there for years and years and years because of words that were said. And so the isolation happens. And so part of the isolation is that the wounds and the whatever. You think part of the isolation comes from ego?
Part of it, yeah. I think pride plays a part, and I don't know how pride and isolation can be separated. I don't see how it can be because you're basically deciding that what you have is kind of selfish as well if you think about it. Because if you look at yourself as somebody who doesn't have value, you miss the point that you do have value and worth, and you're actually purposely withholding it from other people. You say, you know what? I'm not giving them me anymore because they hurt me. But you don't realize that you give something out when you're in community. You give something out when you are a part of this mixture. And by holding it back, you say, you know what? What God has given me, what I've been gifted to have by God, I'm not going to give his gift out. It's almost like doing that with the parable of the talents highlights in Matthew chapter 25. You're taking the gift that God gave you and you're putting it in the dirt. You say, you know what? I'm not giving this out because they hurt my feelings. They made me feel bad. And now I'm sad. And now I'm mad. And I'm going to put my gift in the dirt. And they can't have access to me anymore. That's pride and arrogance and selfishness and ego, without question. And people just make those business decisions all the time to stay in isolation. They do that all the time. And it's not, first off, it's not a principle that God is in alignment with, number one. And it's horrible for you because who's there to be the iron that sharpens iron? How's that happening in isolation when you're by yourself listening to whatever comes to the television set or whatever you're watching or on the internet, on the computer? Who's there to check you on where you're taking this wrong, perhaps where you're making a wrong step somewhere? And that's why the independence misconception is so rough because it runs counter to the wisdom that we've been seeing for over the years. If you let's go back to scripture again, Moses tried to do the leadership thing by himself, and his father-in-law Jethro rebuked him and said, "What you're doing is wrong." If he wasn't there, he kept on doing it, and he probably would have been degraded and beat down, and probably not be able to accomplish the goal. He had to learn how to delegate leadership and how to allow people in his life to help him to carry the load. Even in the times of war, somebody had to hold Moses' hands up because he physically in his own strength he couldn't do it. David had Jonathan. The Bible said that their hearts were knit together in love. They were like one person. That's how much they were supportive and loving of each other. Jesus had Peter, James, and John. I know there were 12, but Peter, James, and John seem to be, according to scripture, the closest to him. They seen things that the other nine never saw. They experienced things the other nine never felt. Community and fellowship and togetherness is a theme in life, and you can find natural examples of the same thing. People who invented things together, that they were best friends and they did things to change the world. The examples are prevalent. You might even have it in your own life. People in your life that you saw that what happens when they sit together, what they can accomplish, what they can conquer in life. So the keys are right there. You can see them all over the place. Lone wolves, they never last long. I grew up watching Nature and Wild Kingdom. Those are my favorite things on the television. My little black and white TV. I grew up watching this all the time, and honestly, I never seen that happen. I never seen lone wolves actually make it long. They hang out for a little while, get some prey here and there, but eventually they would starve and die. But lions, they move in prides. Not the other kind of pride that goes with the isolation, but the other pride, a pack of lions. They move together, and guess what they do? They thrive in that environment, and they also are more successful in that environment, and they actually live longer in that environment. Big key right there for the men that are watching and listening. You live longer if you hang out in the pride.
Wow, that's so good. That's so good. Yeah, it is interesting because it's, depending on what you've been taught and how you've been raised and whatever, some things are just kind of woven into society in general or woven into our belief system in general. And yeah, the whole isolation thing, so dangerous.
Very,
It's not good. It's
very.
lonely. And who wants to be lonely? And you're right, statistically, you don't live as long if you're alone. You don't live as long. And then, by the way, you die and it takes a few weeks before they find you and then it smells bad, whatever. Like,
Wow.
alone isn't good. We're not meant to be alone. The Bible even says that. It's not right for man to be alone. And so putting the ego aside, the pride aside, and saying, I need people. It's okay to need each other. There's nothing wrong with needing each other. You don't have to be this independent man who never asks for help or has to pretend that he's so strong that he doesn't need ever any help or anybody in his life.
Absolutely.
That's a sad way to be.
It's very sad. I mean, think about this just for a second. I don't want to bring too much to your show that you didn't ask me to bring, but just think about this for a second. Even if you don't want to accept the fact that we have an enemy and an adversary that is against us, his very existence is to destroy us and to diminish what God is doing in our life. Even if you don't accept that, if you can't get yourself to believe that because of your religious views or where you come from, whatever it is, let's just use the things that men struggle with in life, the things that are triggers for men, the thing that as a woman cause men's downfall, whether it be drugs, whether it be alcohol, whether it be suicide, whether it be pornography, whatever the case may be. You name the vice, it applies here today. What situation allows those things to thrive most in a man's life? If he's by himself, alone in isolation, or if he's in a community of men who are doing something, whether they're playing baseball and softball, whether they are working on restoring a car, whether they are a part of a coffee group, whether they are part of some kind of men's fellowship or men's group, whether they're going to church together, whether they're going out and riding bikes on the weekends. Which situation allows for those things to thrive the most? Kind of like the cultures and bacteria. Which one allows drugs and alcohol and suicide and pornography, etc., to thrive the most? When you're isolated by yourself, alone, or with the community. Should be this is an open book test. It should be really, really easy to answer this question. That tells you whether you believe in a devil or not. What that tells you is that those things have a harder time functioning when you're in community. They have a harder time sticking to you and becoming a part of your life and being pervasive in your life when you're in community. When you're by yourself, it's easy because there's no barriers of entry. You're solo, there's no protections there. Nobody speaking into your ear saying, hey, this is not where you want to be. It's easy. They can just come in and kind of have their way in your life. Did that make sense, Kim? Did I go off?
Yeah, that's so good. That's so true. That's so true. I mean, just that contrast that you just described. Yeah, all the things that can take you down completely, take you down, wipe you out, all happen in isolation, all fester and make themselves known and grow and whatever in isolation. Much more difficult for those things to happen when you're living in community. Yeah,
Absolutely.
you described it so
Absolutely.
well. It's so true.
Well, thank you. No, that's good. That's good. There's a scripture in Ecclesiastes, and I'll narrow things down with this. Ecclesiastes, the fourth chapter, verse 9 to 10. I love this. It says, "Two are better than one. If either one of them falls, one can help the other up." And it
Mm-hmm.
goes on to talk about if you're by yourself, who's going to help you up?
Mm-hmm.
Real strength is found in brotherhood, and we talk about that a lot in the circles that I run in. So if you're interested in hearing more about that, I'm happy to have a offline conversation with you. But that's what we talk about. Real strength is found in brotherhood. It's found in accountability. It's found in allowing somebody to be uh, a checkpoint for you, to check in on you, make sure that you're good, rather than assuming that everything is fine in your world. They're checkpoints. They're accountability partnerships. I've done this, and I'm still yet doing it. Call it mentorship. Call it actual coaching where I'm hired to be a coach. Call it accountability partnerships. However, whichever one works for you. I'm doing this stuff because the need is great. And I'm hearing this not only nationally, not locally only, but not nationally only, but also globally now. And men across the country, across the sea, are having the same kind of issues. This is not some kind of isolated incident. Don't lie to yourself and say, my husband doesn't deal with this because he didn't tell me. That's
Mm-hmm.
not, there's a lot you probably don't know about that goes on inside the man's head. It's not because he's high, not because he's being deceptive, because he doesn't know how to verbalize a lot of the things that society say he shouldn't be talking about because it makes him weak. So you're not meant to carry this stuff alone. If I can give you a takeaway for this episode, no, you're not meant to carry this alone. You're meant to carry it with someone. That's the whole point of this life. You're not supposed to do it. If you're doing it as a free agent solo by yourself, you're doing this life wrong. You
That's
missed the
so good.
boat.
That's so good. That's so good. I don't even know what to add to that. That's so good. And
I
ladies,
don't
we
know what else
just,
to add either. I'm that
the
this
only
is
thing I would add to it is from the woman's point of view, ladies, we got to give our men space to have those relationships. We've got to give them space to not feel like they have to be alone, that they have to have all the answers, that they've got to be an island and can do anything and everything all by themselves. We got to give them space to be able to be with their friends, to have that time, to develop those relationships, encourage it, encourage it. You know, as women, I don't know what the average number is for women in the US as far as how many friends. I got a lot of
I
them.
have no idea.
I got a lot of friends, and I can call any of my friends anytime I want, and I can
That's
talk to
awesome.
them about anything I want, and we can get together and laugh and and share ideas, and we make each other better.
I love it.
And
That's
why
good.
would you not want that for your man? Of course you would. Of course you would. And men just figure out a way to get in community. There's so many ways to do it, but I think it can be harder. Like if you go to a church, that's easy. Join a men's group, join a whatever. It can be hard though too. I think sometimes for men to connect. Where can men find other men to connect with?
Yeah, there's a I won't say there's a one size fit all regarding that, but what I'm open to do, and this is something I didn't plan for this. I didn't even think about if I have the capacity to even do this. But because you're asking this on your show, I want to make sure that I at least don't leave people hanging. Like I said a few minutes ago, when it comes to accountability partnership and mentorship and even coaching on some level, I think I have the capacity to help people with that. How much is a different question, but I have the ability to help people with that, and I would like to offer myself in that regard. I don't have any online men's groups, just our men's roundtable podcast. What it's doing is we have a safe space. We want someone to talk about men's issues and only men's issue. We don't have any women on the show. They pop up in the chat sometimes. I'm okay with that, but it's just a safe space for men to have discussions. But out of that, we're having conversations, men that are in certain areas geographically or connected with people who are on our show as panelists, and we're connecting them to men's groups that they have. I'm doing some things men's group wise aside from that I want to start building more of. So I'm offering myself as an option for you. If you'd like to kind of get into that, Kim will share all of my information, how you can reach me, how you can contact me. I'll even put my phone number out there. I'm going left with this because I don't normally do that. But I'll send out, give them my link tree and our website and anything that I guess a link for you to book time with me. So if you want to have a discussion with me about some of this stuff, I'm willing to do that stuff. If you're okay with it and you're open to kind of just talk to me and me only, I'm willing to do that. And if I can make a connection for you into some groups that I know about or things that I'm doing, I'm happy to plug you in and connect you with some folks that are doing some awesome things in that regard. And perhaps you can find yourself no longer alone anymore. So hopefully
Wow,
you can help out
that's
with that.
awesome. That's so generous and so awesome. And yes, I'll make sure that all of that information's in the show notes, and so it'll be available to anybody. And don't sit on it. Take take them up on this. Like, this is a generous offer, and it's what a great way to reach out with a phone call or a little Zoom moment or whatever it happens to be, to say, well, how can I connect and get connected? Because it's life changing. It will change your life to be in community. If you are isolated and alone, and it doesn't mean you can have a wife and you can have kids and be isolated and alone.
Oh yeah.
Right? So it's not just for single guys or whatever. Men need men. Women need women. Men need men. And that's all there is to it. It's just the truth. So to be able to connect, for you to connect with people, thanks for that offer. That's very generous. And I hope a lot of people take you up on it, because you know a lot of people and you know a lot of groups, and you can get men plugged in different places. And so I appreciate that so much.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm happy to help out. I feel like I'm pretty confident that I can help folks take a step forward. I'm not promising I can change people's lives and make everything better. I'm saying, but I can help folks take a step forward. I can definitely do that part. So
Mm.
I have enough connections and enough wisdom I believe God gave me to be able to help some men out. So if
Yeah.
they would be open to do that, I'd be happy to do that. I even have conversations with the wives or the men that won't step out and say anything. I'm happy to have those conversations. Just be open to what I'm talking about, though. You're a woman, you listen to Kim's show and you're a friend of hers, and you know that your husband could use this, or your father or your son could use, or your brother could use this. Just be open to my advice, because I'm talking to you from a different perspective, and it's going to take some patience. Especially the male counterpart is not ready to make moves. I'm still going to have a conversation with you, even though, and perhaps offer some advice that might help them be able to do that. So I hope that
Yeah.
helps. I'm putting myself out here with that, but
Yeah, that's so good. That's so, like I said, generous. That's so good. And yeah, take them up on it. Make that phone call, look at the show notes and get the information that you need. But men, stop being alone. Get in community. Your life will up level by tons when you're together. It says where one can move 1,000, two can move 10,000. Like you are so much more working in community than you are working alone and being by yourself. Even with just one really great friend, even just with the one friend that makes you a better person, that you help make him a better person. But if you can get in a community with more than one, all the better. So, man, this has been awesome. Thank you for this
thank you for having me.
time. I appreciate it
It's
so
been a
much.
blessing.
So our first episode, we did 3 episodes, all about misconceptions about men. And the first being centered around emotion, that men are not emotional beings. Men are emotional beings because they're human beings. So they are naturally emotional beings. And being able to express your emotion makes you a better man, not less of a man, instead of just bottling it up. Let your man express his emotions, and men, feel free, express your emotions. And then we talked about provision being tied to a man's worth. And it's not about provision. It is all about presence. And ladies, whatever you've been thinking about that, make sure that you got your head on straight about what that means. And then talking about men in isolation and men thinking they've got to be independent and all alone, and the dangers of that, and how much better it is to be in community. This has been great. Thank you so much for this.
Thank you for having me here. This is so good.
Yeah, so good. So good. Pass these episodes on to people that you know that could hear them, men and women in your life, whoever they happen to be. Pass them on. Make sure that you take Mr. Yu up on his generous offer. Pass that information on as well. And I hope that you enjoyed the series. And who knows, maybe there'll be another one down the pipe somewhere. But I hope this was valuable to everybody listening. And until we see each other again, I just want to say that I pray that you keep your heart open, you live your love loud, and you get involved in community and develop those incredible friendships.